Hey everybody, I'm Jackie, a Marketing Account Manager at Dirigo Design and Development, and for today's tutorial, I'll be introducing you to permanent and temporary redirects with DirigoEdge. This is a 200 series tutorial intended for more advanced users who have a deeper understanding of HTML and web best practices. URL redirection is a complicated subject, and this tutorial just skims the surface of a pretty big topic. We're going to cover the basics here, which should make it safe for just about any user to set up a simple URL redirect. Redirection is the process of forwarding one URL to a different URL. This includes canonicalization of a www or non-www, casing of letters, and the stripping of unneeded characters. Dirigo has a nice series of blog posts on SEO and increasing your Googlebot crawl budget, which discuss the use of heavy redirects. There are a few types of redirects, but only two are regularly used when building out a new website or moving pages. The DirigoEdge redirect tool is meant for simple redirects. The two redirects that are accessible to CMS users are 301, moved permanently, and 302, moved temporarily. These are two of the many HTTP status codes that include 200, OK, 404, page not found, and 500, internal server error. You're probably familiar already with the 404 and 500 codes. You can find a full list of HTTP response status codes online. They're used to provide directives, really status and direction, to the browser, search engines, and to the end user. The redirect that we're most interested in is 301, moved permanently, because this is the status code that is used most often. If you want to keep your backlink profile, which is a fancy way of saying keep your SEO intact when you move a website or rename a page that has inbound links, then you'll need to set up a 301 redirect. Most crawl errors found in the Google Search Console, aka Webmaster Tools, can be corrected with a redirect. A web best practice is to monitor the Google Search Console and to fix broken links as they arise. It's always best that you alert websites that link to you that they are sending traffic to a bad page. But in practice, such requests are often met with no action. So a redirect is your only alternative. You may need to keep redirects in place for many years, and it's possible over time to have thousands or even tens of thousands of redirects. Naming your pages correctly and not restructuring your URLs often is always best if your website needs to rely on organic search engine traffic. The classic way to do an ASP.NET redirect is by inserting lines of code to the web config file that maps old URLs to new URLs. In practice, we still use this method because it's possible to do a sophisticated matching using code called regex, or regular expressions. If your website has 301 redirects set up in the web config, you'll not have any transparency to know that they exist. If you want to know if you have any and what they are, you can always ask a developer to provide you a list of redirects from the web config. Stock DirigoEdge enforces canonicalization of the www, non-www, SSL, non-SSL, trailing slash, and lowercasing of letters. You should always use lowercase letters, and your URL in a trailing slash, and use relative URLs when linking to internal pages. This will help to avoid system-level canonical 301 redirects. Client tools such as Screaming Frog, Xenu Link Sleuth, and Fiddler software are easily installed tracing and debugging tools that provide transparency into an HTTP request. These tools will provide transparency into what is happening under the hood with your page requests. Dirigo uses web best practices, so we've got you, for the most part, covered. Most modern-day CMS systems provide redirection tools that don't require editing code. Such is the case with DirigoEdge 2. Redirection is an advanced subject. Done incorrectly, it can have devastating impacts on a website's deliverability, or it can take the site offline in the case of creating an infinite loop. In some practices, we sometimes restrict access to the redirection feature in DirigoEdge. I'm going to be using the unrestricted tool. Let's get started. From the back end of your website, click Settings. Here's the redirect tool. This display looks pretty familiar. It's a list of the current redirects with an Edit, Delete, and New redirect button. Edit and Delete are just as you would expect. This website has more than 400 redirects, which is not untypical. Let's create a new redirect for this URL. In Edge, we're going to strip out the Internet Application Protocol, the HTTP or HTTPS, the subdomain, www, and the main domain, GreatBookSummer, and the top-level domain, .com. So we always start with the / and we always end with the /. The old URL goes into the source box, and the new goes into the destination. In DirigoEdge, all content pages are shown on the page drop-down menu. The blog, however, is not. So redirecting a blog uses a custom redirect. I'll show you that in a moment. Let's finish this redirect like this. Be sure to click Permanent because this will make the redirect a 301. Now let's do a redirect which is going to be a custom redirect. Here's what we're going to do. This is how you do this redirect. Now, let's look at a route matching example. This is a common need when moving from one CMS system to another. In this case, I have many pages that need to be redirected to a single page. I can accomplish this with route matching. We accomplish this as follows. A few more tips. Never redirect the / without anything else. This will redirect your home page. If, by chance, you duplicate a redirect, don't worry too much because DirigoEdge will execute that first redirect that matches the pattern. The duplicate will not be executed. That said, try your best to keep things clean by not having duplicates. And never create a recursive loop redirecting from a page to itself. Doing so may very well crash your website. Browsers aggressively cache 301 redirects, and there is nothing short of a cache wipe by the user to revive the old URL. There are serious consequences to using a permanent redirect in that the old URL is practically unusable if enough people have visited it. If you plan to reuse a URL, then don't check the permanent box. This would make the redirect temporary. Over time, it's possible to get redirection chains. That's where an old page redirects to an old page, which redirects to the new page. Double, triple, or quadruple hopping is not good for SEO. A best practice is to periodically debug or trace your redirects to ensure that you have clean, single hops. If you need more sophisticated pattern matching, then your developer will need to deploy more advanced redirects using regex in the web config file. We hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have questions, a Dirigo team member is only a phone call or an email away. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for another DirigoEdge tutorial.